You are going to lose money, or you're going to lose out on the house entirely, or you're going to get the house but way overspend in the process. If you do any of these 7 things, be prepared for all of that to happen potentially. Guys, I've seen it happen to some of the smartest people I know. They walk in with a down payment and a dream, and they end up just leaving with a legal nightmare and an empty bank account. Hi friends, my name is Mackenzie Rasmus, and if you are thinking about buying or even just want to know these pitfalls to avoid, this video is for you. Today, I'm going to be telling you some stories of some tragic things that have happened in the industry and how you can avoid it when you make your next purchase. This first one, I'm talking about the almighty Z. Yep, that's it. Your Zillow monthly payment. What do I mean by that? Well, this couple walked into a stunning colonial. It was in the perfect area that they wanted to be in with the preferred school district, and Zillow had the estimated payment at $2,800. Well, they were coming from their rent, which was $2,500, and they thought, yeah, we could swing the extra $300 to be in our own home. Well, what they didn't realize was in this specific Twin Cities suburb, property taxes had been reassessed and their actual payment was $3,500. By month 3, they were basically eating on the floor because, well, they couldn't even afford a dining table. Key lesson here, the list price is a suggestion, but your carrying costs are the reality. And just because Zillow has your estimated monthly payment at something does not actually mean that that's what it's going to be. Before you commit to any contract, make sure you know your monthly numbers. That is one of my non-negotiables when one of my clients is writing on a house. All right, story number 2, the victory purchase. Now, the inspection was over. These guys were 10 days from closing. And to celebrate, they went to their favorite big box store. They marched down and they bought on finance a $6,000 top of the line fridge and microwave. It's a new kitchen. It's got to have new appliances, right? You know. 2 days before they were supposed to get the keys, the lender did one final credit check, as they always do, and that $6,000 debt spiked their debt-to-income ratio. They no longer qualified for the loan. They were not able to secure the mortgage at the rate that they qualified for, and the deal fell through. So yeah, they got a fancy new fridge and microwave, but now nowhere to flip and put it. Until the deed is recorded and you have signed on the dotted line, do not even think about buying anything, please. I know we should not be worshiping the almighty FICO, but guys, that's just how the system works, and you do not want to mess with your credit score when you're buying a big purchase like a house. Story number 3. The gray floor distraction. Now, they walked into a house and they felt like they were walking into like a magazine, like straight out of HGTV, where fresh white paint and trendy gray floors and brand new gold hardware in the kitchen. Guys, they were in love. Romantic music playing in the background, like I felt like I should have been giving them some champagne or something. Well, they were so busy looking at the backsplash, they did not even notice the water stains in the corner of the basement. The seller had spent $5,000 on all of these pretty cosmetics to hide a $15,000 foundation issue. And my friends, my brothers and sisters in Christ, this is what we call a lipstick on a pig. They spent all of their energy getting excited about this house, only when the inspection were to come through, which is why we always recommend getting an inspection, to look at the full house, look at the foundation and the mechanicals first, and then you can look and focus on what all of the pretty things are upstairs. Doesn't matter how nice the kitchen is, if it's on a faulty foundation, it ain't gonna work for you, my friend. All right, this one actually, when I heard about this breaks my heart. So, bidding war story. They had lost out on 3 houses already. So naturally, they're feeling defeated. And listen, guys, I'm an empath, so I fully get it. I get it 100%. On the 4th, I get it, but they got desperate. And so to make their offer stand out, they told the seller, we'll waive the inspection entirely. Not, we'll shorten our inspection, not, we'll have our pass-fail inspection, not, we'll only focus on the big items. There's so many other tools in your tool belt that you can utilize. That's why if I have a client coming in and they want to waive inspection, I'm like, whoa, first of all, no. Second of all, there are so many other ways that we can get creative so that you can get the house you want, you can make your offer look presentable, but you're not waiving your inspection entirely. That is the ultimate gamble. Like, listen, I like going to the casino every now and again and slapping a dime or two on blackjack, but no, do not do that in terms of waiving inspection, please. Because you know what happened? And again, Murphy's Law. God, Murphy must have been such a you know what, if he had a law named after him. Hopefully it wasn't Papa. God, can you imagine if Murphy's Law was named after Papa Murphy? What a plot twist. A month after moving in, the main sewer line collapsed. And they had to then dig up the yard and fix it. And you know how much that cost? $18,000. So yeah, they won the bidding war, but then they started their homeownership journey deep in financial debt. An inspection, key point, is your one insurance policy against financial ruin when you're taking on a big cost, a big onus, like a house. Now, this one is not quite as dramatic, but it is important to know. So these guys, they had exactly $30,000 saved up. And that's what they were going to be using to buy a house. It was exactly 5% of the down payment that they needed, and they thought that they were ready to sign the paperwork. Well, a couple of days before, you are mandated by law to receive what is called a closing disclosure, which goes over all of the fees and whatnot and gives you your full total cash to close. They needed another $11,000 in title fees, insurance, and prepaid taxes. They were not prepped for what are considered pretty normal closing costs associated with purchasing a home. So many people just think about their down payment, but they don't realize that you got to be prepared to have as much as 3% of the sales price as closing costs. Now, there are ways that we can get around that. I've had many times where we've negotiated some of those closing costs to be paid for by the seller, but you can't necessarily bank on that. Always assume you need an extra 3% for the paperwork, so that way you do not have to have any last-ditch efforts to try and move some money around, which is what these guys had to do to get their deal closed. Now, heartbreak situation number 6. This is what I call the Sunday morning stroll. So they visited the house. It was on an open house on a quiet Sunday morning. It was this perfect, sleepy little cul-de-sac. Birds were chirping. There was probably a lemonade stand or a Girl Scout cookie out. Whatever's like in your stereotypical neighborhood, that's what this had. They bought the house and then they moved in that first Monday morning commute at 7 a.m. You know those backwards sort of like shortcuts that everybody knows, that the locals know through the neighborhoods so that they can avoid the freeway traffic in the morning? They were on that main thoroughfare through the neighborhood that all of the morning commuters were cutting through. You would never have known that if you've only seen the house on a Sunday morning or a weekday afternoon, which is what these guys had seen it at the open house and at the inspection and subsequent final walkthrough. It is so important that you tour the house when you are expecting to be there. Meaning, if you're a morning commute person, do your morning commute from the house. I know it seems a little far-fetched, but that's how you avoid these types of situations. All right, now this last one, this is what I like to call trusting the nice listing agent. So they didn't want to bother a buyer's agent. They didn't feel like they necessarily needed one. So they just called the number on the yard sign, and the agent was so nice and they offered to handle everything. This is what some people don't understand. If you are calling the listing agent, you are working directly with somebody that has a fiduciary duty to represent the seller. That was their first initial relationship. That was their first initial point of contact, and who they have a fiduciary duty to respond. And so then if you come in without a buyer's agent, what does the listing agent see? They see dollar signs. They see, oh, they get to quote unquote hog both sides, meaning get the buyer's agent commission and the listing agent commission. They're not working in your best interest. They're either working for the seller's best interest because that was their own fiduciary, or their own because they want to try to maximize the amount that they can have in terms of their commissions. So I beg of you, have your own representation. It is so important in today's market to have a knowledgeable advisor walking you through all of the different lines in the purchase agreement. There's over 350 lines, by the way, in the purchase agreement, and most people only focus on 5. So it's important to know and have somebody in your corner that can help guide you. All of this to say, these are just things that I want you to avoid. Now you know about them, and so now you know that you're able to avoid them going forward. As long as you have somebody that's in your corner, You will be just fine. If you have any questions at all, you want to book a free call with me, my Stan Store, which is now live, is down below. In that, you can get an estimated update for how much your house is worth. You can start the buying journey, or you can book a call with me. Or if you need a referral, even if you're not in the Twin Cities area and you need a recommendation for a realtor or a dentist, it doesn't matter where you are. I have a referral form in my Stan Store that you can utilize, and I will connect you to the best resource imaginable. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Mackenzie, and I will see you in the next one.